Measure time in small things, in milk stains on the table, in bedtime stories read with half-closed eyes, in shoes that were always too small by the time he noticed. Back then, time felt slow, heavy, endless. And then, without asking, it sped up. When his first child was born, he promised himself he would never miss a moment. He stood in the hospital room holding a tiny hand, shocked by how something so small could rearrange his entire heart. He whispered promises the child could not understand. "I'll be here. I'll protect you. I'll always have time." He believed those words. Life, however, had other plans. Work demanded mornings and swallowed evenings. Responsibilities grew louder than laughter. Days blurred into weeks, weeks into years. He learned to love efficiently, kisses on foreheads, quick questions at dinner, nodding while checking messages. "I'll play with you tomorrow," he said often. Tomorrow always came, but it never stayed long. Their mother used to watch him quietly. She was still beautiful in the soft, tired way of someone who gives more than she takes. She noticed the changes first. The way their daughter stopped reaching for his hand, the way their son no longer asked him to check under the bed at night. "They're growing," she said one evening, folding laundry. He smiled without looking up. "Kids do that." She wanted to say more, but some truths need silence to grow heavy enough to be felt. The moment he noticed came unexpectedly. It was a rainy afternoon. He came home early, something rare enough to feel almost illegal. The house was quieter than he remembered. No toys on the floor, no cartoons humming in the background. He called their names. No answer. He walked down the hallway and stopped. Their daughter stood in front of the mirror, fixing her hair with a seriousness that startled him. She wore a dress he had never seen before. Her eyes, once wide and careless, now held questions he didn't recognize. "Oh," she said, slightly embarrassed. "Didn't hear you come in." She smiled, but it was a different smile, polite, grown. His heart stumbled. Later that evening, he found his son outside, sitting on the steps, staring at the rain. "Everything okay?" he asked. The boy shrugged. Not dramatically, just practiced. "I'm fine." That was when it hit him. He used to tell me everything. He sat beside him, unsure how to bridge the distance that had quietly formed between them. "You know," he said awkwardly, "when you were little, you hated the rain." The boy smiled faintly. "I remember." But the memory belonged to the past, not to now. That night, he lay awake beside his wife. "I missed it," he whispered into the darkness. She turned toward him. She had been waiting years for those words. "You didn't miss it," she said softly. "You were just busy surviving." He closed his eyes, shame and love tangling painfully in his chest. "I don't want to miss what's left." She reached for his hand. Their fingers still fit. Some things, thankfully, had not grown apart. "Then don't," she said. "Start now." So he did. He learned to knock before entering their rooms. He learned to listen without correcting. He learned that love, at this stage, looked less like protection and more like presence. He took his daughter for late-night drives, listening to music she loved but didn't fully understand. He watched his son play sports from the sidelines, clapping louder than necessary, just to be seen. And sometimes, when the house was quiet again, he sat with his wife on the couch, sharing wine and memories. "Do you remember when they thought we knew everything?" She laughed. He smiled sadly. "I wish I had known then how fast it would all go." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "They didn't grow up too fast," she said. "Time just did what it always does." Years later, when the house became truly quiet, he stood in the doorway of their empty rooms. No toys, no posters, just echoes. He felt the ache, but also gratitude, because although he hadn't noticed when they grew up, they had noticed when he finally stayed. And sometimes, love isn't about being there from the beginning. Sometimes it's about showing up before it's too late. If you want